Welcome into WFRV plus Sports Night. Took a couple tries, but we are here now.
But Carson, you didn't get the dress code. I thought we were going suits.
Well, you just
on
got
this
off. You just
Monday.
got off the air.
No, but I love that. Can we tell the story behind that Ryder Cup?
We can tell the story behind
That
the
looks
Ryder Cup
good,
quarter
man.
zip. Okay, so there is a bit of an elongated story. Long story short, though, my dad was surprised, and he went to the Ryder Cup this year at Bethpage Black in Long Island, and he brought my brother a quarter zip. And of course, quarter zips are great. It was like a nice
they're
quarter
beautiful.
zip. And I was like, Dad, this is BS. Like, you get my brother a quarter zip, and I get a hat. Like,
I love
what is
that.
this? And then my sweet father that he is, on Christmas morning, he said, Carson, look at what I got you from the Ryder Cup.
See,
Nice little quarter zip.
that's called a
And
dad.
honestly, he got my brother a red one. I got a blue one. My color's blue, so
A dad that knows his sons.
a dad.
Right?
Dad that knows
hey,
his
shout out
sons.
fathers. And
Shout out Jeff.
Only 4 years after the Ryder Cup, and this is the Wisconsin connection, was at Whistling Straits.
That's just north of Milwaukee. Kohler?
Yeah.
In Kohler,
yes.
Wisconsin? Yeah.
Gosh, geography. Yes. But I don't know why I thought
He's
it
from
was south of
California.
that.
It's fine.
It's so
It's
far
fine.
away. Yeah,
But
you're
let's
the
get
Midwest
back
guy.
to I just realized I didn't start the timer.
It's okay. Don't worry about the timer. Let's just keep going. Come on.
Why not?
Yeah. The reason we set a timer, folks, I like the
Let's
behind
just keep
the
it real.
curtain.
Let's keep it real.
The reason we set the timer is because the show needs to be a certain amount of time, and we just want to be on our P's and Q's.
You're so right,
Right?
Cam. Okay, so we're about 30 seconds behind.
That's fine.
Let's
no
get
worries.
to the Packers-Baltimore game that was something maybe we wouldn't want to talk about today, but we have to because we're in the Green Bay sports market. A 41-24 defeat of the Packers, where Derrick Henry basically had his way with this team. 307 yards of total rushing offense by this Ravens team. He had 216 of them, a season high for him going back to week 1 when he had 169 against the Buffalo Bills. Also 3 touchdowns, Cam. The most since 2018 for him.
4. He had 4.
4. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
the fourth
4.
one. Still,
Yes.
I think why even you just say 3 and you're still the
lose
stat
you
line
lose
is
count.
so
Yeah.
incomprehensible is because watching him play against that Packers defense, it felt like a joke, and it felt like a joke from the jump. He had 7 carries for 48 yards. On that first drive alone, the Packers ran 14 total offensive plays on 5 separate drives
Yeah, that's
in
bad.
the first half. Like the fact that right off the jump, you're looking at it, gosh, can they stop Derrick Henry? And that first drive, it was everything that you then expected the following drives to be. And I remember talking about this with someone weeks ago, saying this Packers run defense, especially without Micah Parsons and Devontae Wyatt, why aren't teams just run? And yes, the run defense can be good at times, or maybe you can't run because you're trailing the Packers by 10. You need to throw the ball. You need to push the envelope. But in any other case, and I thought the Ravens played a perfect strategy, like a strategic game by taking the ball first, because they knew this team cannot stop Derrick Henry, and we're going to show them that they can't, then we're going to do it the rest of the game.
Yeah, we said that on air last night. You guys said that when you were taping Green Bay Nation. They just had their absolute way with this team, and there was nothing the Packers could do about it. They knew exactly what they were going to do. Literally, probably 3 out of 4 offensive plays they'd run, and there was just nothing they could do.
I love the stat that and this is something that I completely overlook. Now, Xavier McKinney, the safety, right? He's 3rd on the team in total tackles. So when you look at the stat line, you say, oh, Xavier McKinney led the team in total tackles. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense for Xavier McKinney leading the team in total tackles is when they run the ball 53 times.
Yeah, that was bad.
Then McKinney shouldn't lead the team in tackles.
No.
The guys on the line should lead the team in tackles. I also found it very alarming. Rashawn Gary played fewer snaps on the edge as Lucas Van Ness, who was a full participant for the first time in 2 months, and Kingsley Enagbare, who's emerged as their best defensive end, even though he's getting paid $20 million fewer than Rashawn Gary. I actually wanted to start
That's
with
wild.
that point and ask you what you think is going on
With Rashawn.
with Rashawn.
I just don't think he's that good. I think we're starting to see his abilities being exposed without Micah Parsons. It's not that he's bad. He's a fine defensive end. It's like we talked about with Lucas Van Ness. He's just a little too slow to be a defensive end nowadays, and he's not big enough to be a defensive tackle. He's sort of in that in-between. And the way that tackles move these days on the offensive line, you have to be really, really fast. Think about the best offensive tackles in football. Dawkins, Trent Williams. You could put Zach Tom up there. Those guys move with the best of them.
Mm-hmm. They're more nimble. They're more
Trent
nimble
Williams
than tackles
allowed
used to
one
be.
sack against Myles Garrett. 1-on-1 for an entire game.
It makes a difference. I also think that people then
Trent Williams would put Rashawn Gary in the ground.
Right. I also think that people forget that Micah Parsons, and you're like, but why then? Micah Parsons is big and he's athletic, and yes, he has the speed to him, but you'd think, especially with how Rashawn Gary started the season with the 7.5 sacks, Micah Parsons was a linebacker in college. He played this is a guy that has been moved to defensive end, and then or just edge rusher, and you start to realize he can be anything he wants. Rashawn Gary is strictly a defensive lineman. And maybe you're right. If Rashawn Gary puts on some more pounds, maybe instead he's better as a defensive tackle, or something has to give. But because quarterbacks are more mobile these days, like Tyler Huntley had his way, 8 carries, 60 yards. And the reason he played the way he did is he can run. Yeah. And who are you outrunning? Lucas Van Ness and Rashawn Gary? You're fully right. Yeah, you make a great point there.
The game has just evolved. It's like how in the NBA nowadays, centers have to shoot 3-pointers. Yeah. And you have to have and you can't have a center that can't shoot threes, because then they're not going to be able to guard the guy that can shoot threes if it's their 5. It's just the game just evolved. Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, some of the best of them in the NFL. I'd even put Donovan Ezeraku in that category as well. They've just changed the game. Brian Burns, a good example. The edge rusher, Nick Bonito in Denver.
That's a great point.
They're just a little bit smaller, but they have, you just realize all these guys are strong.
Yeah.
They play in the NFL. They all can bench press 225 plus pounds for multiple reps. Doesn't matter if you're 20 more pounds heavier.
It's speed. The game is speed.
It's so much faster nowadays. And it's such a just a ball aware league. And I feel like in more than in years past, we're seeing guys just get to the ball as fast as possible. And maybe that's why we're seeing more injuries, just because the game's become a little bit more violent. Granted, the game's also changed because there are certain tackles they've outlawed. Like, for example, the one we saw last night, I've actually never seen that call before, that alligator tackle call, where one of the Bears linebackers, one of the 49ers linebackers dove at an offensive lineman's legs to stop a runner.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen that call before.
I wasn't watching the majority of that games. Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
You cannot lead with the crown of your helmet
toward the lower
leg, towards your lower legs. Wow. You can turn your body. You basically like almost suplex yourself sideways.
Yeah.
But like, there's just different things you can't do anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. The game has changed. And I feel like the only reason the Ravens were able to have the success they did is they realized, why are we overcomplicating the game?
And
the Packers,
that's why Jim Harbaugh is a great coach.
And the Packers have been adjusting to this new era, right? With bringing in Micah Parsons.
Did I say Jim? I meant Joe. Joe Harbaugh? Is it Jim Harbaugh?
Which one? Are you talking Chargers or Ravens?
Ravens.
Ravens is John.
Jim
is the Chargers coach. Either way.
All the J's.
There's
whatever.
There's so many Harbaughs. Like they're all over the map.
They're the worst.
But just the worst, man. So yeah, I mean, the Ravens went back to what they're known to be, which is a rushing attack team. And this is nothing against Zay Flowers or anyone on the outside, but they knew when Tyler Huntley was getting the start, we're going to run the ball. The Packers knew they were going to run the ball. And instead of what the Packers probably prepared for, which is different schemes, knowing you don't have Lamar Jackson, it's like, how are we going to work out to Tyler Huntley in terms of bootlegs or RPOs, or who are we going to give the ball to? Where is he going to attack the A gap, the B gap? Instead, the Ravens said, welcome our 252-pound running back, Derrick Henry. Here's the ball. He ran the ball 36 times. The last time he did that was 9 years ago in a game at Alabama.
He's also 31. He's 32 in January.
Yeah. But what I don't even think, even beyond the age and everything, it's like that is what makes the Ravens so good, is their mobile, just the arsenal to move fast.
It just opens everything up.
And they didn't overcomplicate it.
No, I completely
Derrick Henry,
agree.
have the ball go.
Well, because when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson or Tyler Huntley that is mobile, and you do need to have a spy on him, you can't stack the box because then he's just going to beat you with his legs.
And that's what he did.
And they did it anyways, because when they decided to stack the box, Huntley would see it and then he'd bootleg it, or he'd take it himself. They had a really good game plan, and the Ravens are a tough team to prepare for unless you are extremely physical up front, and the Packers just weren't.
No, and why the Packers have been so good against the run, outside of obviously having Parsons and Wyatt, is everyone else. everyone else has stepped up so much. And something about what the Ravens did with completely shading that second level, where Quay Walker wasn't a factor. He probably had one of his worst games. And I think it is a product of how Quay Walker's been successful this season, where he's done a lot of guessing right and that physicality and picking the right spots.
Yeah.
And Quay is a head guy first. Like, he's a guy that he knows where to go and where to be, and he's very smart whether to drop back or go up. So he's really smart in that regard. And the Ravens said, we are going to take away your thoughts of where you want to go, and they take a lineman and contain him.
Yeah, and you got to give credit to that Ravens offensive line, because
gosh.
they were really mobile. They got to the second level whenever they wanted to, and they got off blocks and they blocked well. So that's probably why they ran it for more than 300 yards. What was the most ever? One of the most. Kyle has a stat that was I think it was the third or fourth time that Lambeau Field has ever seen 300 plus rush yards.
I think it's the second time since 1979.
There you go. You and I weren't even born by about 20 plus years.
Yeah. And the last time I think was 3 years ago. So even before then, it hadn't happened. Like that.
It was an anomaly.
Also, remember, the most they'd given up in a game was against Carolina, 163 total. It doubled that. And it didn't stop.
Makes sense. They had Devontae Wyatt and Micah Parsons.
True, but it was 27-24. And obviously, let's take a quick break. But obviously, at one point of the game, there was a chance for them to win, and it always felt out of reach.
It has the last 3 games, except for the one in Chicago. Yep. All right, let's take a quick break here on WFRV Plus. We'll talk about the Packers' potential playoff opponents, I think, when we come back. Either the Eagles or those bad Chicago Bears. We'll be right back. Welcome back to WFRV Plus Sports Night. That's Cameron Ezer. I'm Carson Fowler of WFRV Sports. The Packers are locked into that 7 seed now. We have known that for 24 plus hours. Actually, we've known that for more than a week now, that I think about it. But we know now for the last 24 hours that they are going to play either the Eagles or the Bears, because the Bears did not take care of business against the Niners on Sunday Night Football, and the Eagles took care of their business in Buffalo. So actually, the Eagles are actually in potential position to leapfrog the Bears if the Bears were to lose, but we shall see. So now, Cameron, I ask you, would you want the Packers to see the Bears or the Eagles?
The Bears. And honestly, I think it is beyond scheme and beyond who they had success against compared to who they didn't, because of course they lost to the Eagles at home, probably should have beaten the Bears twice. The fact is, the Eagles just won the gosh darn Super Bowl. And the Chicago Bears.
They also held a Josh Allen MVP-led Bills team to 12 points.
True, but I'm going beyond scheme. You have
phone fell, sorry.
No worries. You have playoff experience.
Oh, yeah.
Against a team really without any.
And without a defense. That defense has not. We said this earlier this year that defense looks a lot better than it is because they force a ton of turnovers and they give their offense more opportunities. They just gave up 42 points to the Niners. And the Niners are playing really well. But it's a team that is one of the worst in football at running.
Yeah,
football.
Micah Parsons tweeted out, and he actually just announced he had ACL surgery today. So that's good news. It kind of starts that clock of 9.5 or 10 months of coming back. But he tweeted out the other night, because he obviously watches the NFL, even during his recovery and his rehab, that this is what happens when teams don't have a pass rush. Quarterbacks run rampant as they did. And Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy, really good quarterbacks. But if you have a lot of time, there are a lot of really good quarterbacks in the league. But like I said, I think you want to play Chicago because of the lack of playoff experience. Yes, you just showed that you have more success against the Bears, even with the beleaguered defense without Micah and without Devontae.
Yeah.
But even more so, playoffs and nerves are a thing.
100%.
Look at what happened to the Vikings against the Rams last year, a team that won 14 games, looked nearly unstoppable. Sam Darnold doesn't have a lot of playoff experience. It showed. The Rams defense dominated that O-line, dominated Darnold, and absolutely demolished Minnesota.
Eviscerated them.
And that's why you can even have a little bit of concern for Seattle going into the playoffs with Darnold
I
at
think
the
I
helm.
have concern for a lot of these teams.
I agree.
How many guys are going into the playoffs this year that have never been there before, or at least not had success,
or had that? I think they're
Trevor Lawrence,
yep,
Bo Nix, Drake May,
yes.
Sam Darnold's had very little.
I think out of those four,
you could even throw Jordan Love in the mix.
True. Out of those 5 quarterbacks, they have a combined 2 playoff wins. Trevor Lawrence had that comeback win over the Chargers, and Jordan Love had that surprise shocker win 2 years ago against the Cowboys. Bo Nix, first playoff appearance last year, they lost. Drake May, obviously, it's his second year?
Yes,
Second year. Rookie year, they weren't that good, and then they got Vrabel and turned things around. And the last quarterback you said was
Drake May.
no.
Bo Nix has Sean Payton. Drake May has Vrabel.
Yes. Did I flip them? Okay, yes.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
Bo Nix and Drake May, yes. Now
Both were subpar last year, and now they're at the top of the AFC.
add CJ Stroud to the conversation. I think he only has,
He has
one playoff
one win against the Browns in 2023.
Yeah. So, well, no, they beat the Chargers in the playoffs.
In 2024?
Yeah. So, but he doesn't have a past divisional win. And you think about it.
Have any of these guys been to a Super Bowl besides
Stafford and Hurts, Rams
was
and
Brock
Eagles.
Purdy on the roster?
And then Brock Purdy.
But
Those
he
are the
didn't
three.
play.
Well, yeah, he played.
Did he take the 49ers to the Super Bowl?
Yeah. They made it to the Super Bowl. That was the year they lost to the Chiefs. That second time.
I thought that was Garoppolo.
But either way, that's 3 quarterbacks out of the 14 that haven't gone to a Super Bowl, let alone you talk about championship games.
Oh, yeah.
The other guys haven't even picked up divisional wins. You think of Herbert. You think of, obviously, Love and Darnold. And this is a playoffs, and the whole year has really been built off parity. But I'm curious to see how much experience plays a factor. And for that reason, I think you have to say you want to play in Chicago because you don't know what's going to happen in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if I'd want to go into a hostile environment like that. I think it's just, if this season is a carbon copy of what we saw last year, Packers fans don't want to see the Packers go to Philly.
No.
Not at all.
No.
Like, there are a million reasons to want to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
One, Packers fans travel. There'll be a lot of Packers fans at that game. You almost beat them. That defense has holes. There's not a lot of holes on that Philly defense. And granted, Philly has had its struggles on offense, and the Bears offense looks amazing. But I think it's way easier to, let me rephrase. I would put more faith now in this Packers offense to do well than this Packers defense. And I think the Bears give you a better chance of winning.
Remember, the Packers against the Bears in that loss 2 weeks ago gave up, I think it was 150 rushing yards. In that loss to the Eagles, they gave up under 80 and only 60, or they gave under 100. I think they gave up 111, but only 60 to Saquon Barkley. I don't have confidence in the Packers run defense at all. But the fact that even without Micah Parsons in that Bears game, you gave up that many rush yards and you should have won. But with Micah Parsons, you stifled the Eagles and still lost. Yeah. That tells me something is which defense would you rather face? And even though they were 0 for 5 in the red zone against Chicago a few weeks ago, at least they got in the red zone. Against the Eagles, they couldn't get in the darn red zone.
Couldn't do anything.
So I 1000% agree, but I do think that as much as scheme matters and where this team is, because the Packers are not the same team as they were a month ago, experience matters. And Caleb Williams can go off against the Niners in a regular season game. He can lead the Bears to a comeback in a regular season game. I mean, what would they have? 6 fourth quarter comebacks?
7.
You're not doing that in the playoffs, especially if you've never been there before. And if they play one home game, they might only have the one.
It's true.
So we don't know. So now I will say, and you can't look ahead if you're the Packers because they've lost 3 in a row.
Right.
But if you play the Bears or the Eagles, I'm curious who you would rather face as the 7 playing the 1. Because it's
just hypothetically,
it's either the Seahawks or the Niners. Who would you rather face?
Niners. I think the Niners are.
You'd rather face the Niners.
Yes.
Wow.
The Seahawks. It's just that defense. That defense flies around. Devon Witherspoon's one of the best corners in football. They got a really, really good defensive line led by Leonard Williams. The Niners. The thing with the Niners is a team is eventually going to figure out that they're not good at running the football.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And the Bears defense has holes, but oh my God. I texted one of my buddies from college who's a big Bears fan. I said, so funny. The Niners had such a good game plan. Pretend you can't run the football for 16 weeks, and then in week 17, run the football really well against the Bears, because that's literally what they did.
Yeah, and the Bears don't have a good run defense. They allowed 192 to the Packers in that loss, or in that Packers loss.
I don't have the stats in front of me. Do you know how many yards the Niners had last night on the ground?
No.
It had to have been more than 150.
It was a lot. But again,
Christian McCaffrey had his longest run of the season.
The Bears against a Packers team that Josh Jacobs barely played. Emmanuel Wilson had 6 yards per carry, and Malik Willis was the quarterback. had almost 200 yards against that Bears rush defense.
Which is exactly why I'd want to play the Bears in the first round. And I don't want to get ahead of myself thinking about who they play next.
Yeah.
But I think I'd rather play the Niners than the Rams or the Seahawks.
It wouldn't be the Rams.
They might be without Kittle.
It would be Niners or Seahawks.
That's definitive now?
Yes, because no matter what happens. Oh, yes.
Well, because the Rams play tonight, don't.
But it doesn't matter because the Niners and the Seahawks play each other. So someone is going to get the upper hand and they're going to win the NFC West. And yeah. So
wow, so that Rams-Seahawks game, that Thursday night football game from a few weeks ago.
That was division deciding for the Niners and for the Seahawks, yes.
Wow.
I know. That's why that 2-point conversion. You talk about the 2 points that Buffalo didn't get to sink the Eagles.
You know, it's so funny because the NFL's like just posse of fans, which is the entire country. I'm not sure I said it like that, but they're really up in arms about that decision to go for 2. And I understand the criticism because they were playing really well, but the guy was wide open.
Yeah.
Khalil Shakir was wide open. Yeah. Not to get off track here, but Josh Allen just didn't make a good throw.
Yeah. But you also have to think like on that touchdown prior, they got the extra point blocked by Jalen Carter.
That's another thing too. It's a really good point.
It's like you might as well just go for 2 because at that point, whatever.
Hey, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, that's what Bob Knight always says.
Yeah,
I can say the last part.
It would be Christmas. You don't need to include the profanities.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll take a quick break here, and when we come back, let's talk more of this Packers-Vikings matchup and sort of the theatrics that are going to go into if the Packers play their starters, they play for a couple drive, but we'll discuss it. We'll get your thoughts after the break. Welcome back to WFRV Plus Sports Night for a third time. Cameron Azera, Carson Fowler, Packers Vikings officially announced yesterday. That game will be on January 4th, this coming Sunday at noon at US Bank Stadium. Cam, I've never been there, but you have.
Yeah. It's also on CBS.
Which is our station, which is great.
Yep.
Tune in, WFRV Local 5.
Mm-hmm.
Cam, where would you rank, just quickly, where would you rank US Bank Stadium of the stadiums that you've been to in the NFL?
I'm very fortunate that prior to this year, I hadn't traveled to a lot of stadiums. I think outside of childhood and everything, I've probably been like 5 or so, which still is a good amount.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm very, very lucky that this year I've probably gone over 10, which is so cool. US Bank was insane.
There you go.
From the aerial outside view to when you get in that stadium, the you know how it's shaped like a ship, like the Viking ship with it is one of the cool to be in that stadium, honestly, is probably top 2 for me.
Oh, wow. High praise.
It is so darn cool. And I got to be on the field. You know, there's got people shooting the game and everything.
Yeah,
and I was the runner, so I got the SD card. So I got to be on the field. The Skull Champ, as much as people despise it in Green Bay, it's cool. Like at least
Skull.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself. It is really, really cool. Just everything that goes into pregame leading up to the game.
Right.
I mean, when I say top 2, I'm trying to see because I would measure it up against Lambeau because I just think it's Lambeau, just it being what it is.
It's like the Fenway, Wrigley of the NFL.
But gosh, US Bank, honestly,
just a cool stadium.
It is just architecturally, it is just insane. So I would say that.
Shout out the architects, man.
Right, come on.
Let's get back to the point at hand, which is, Cam, I'll ask you this. Do you believe, or I'll rephrase, what would be your approach if you were Matt LaFleur on playing your starters? You going to play them for the whole game? You going to play them for a half, couple drives?
Jordan Love plays the first quarter, and it's similar to the preseason game. I don't know if everyone remembers this a couple years ago. It was either in Cleveland or Cincinnati. And Jordan Love threw, I think, 2 passes, and it resulted in an opening drive touchdown to Dontavian Wicks, and then he was pulled, which is very preseason-esque. I think if Jordan Love is driving, if they go on a 10-play drive, you take him out after the first drive, but he needs to see some action. You can't play him any further. Matt LaFleur made a great point in his press conference on Sunday saying, we understood what we lost playing in an unnecessary game against the Bears and our starters going out there. Remember, Christian Watson tore his ACL. So I don't even know if the starters play. I don't think Watson should play. I think your receivers, you should really dumb it down. Josh Jacobs should not play with how he's hurting. Maybe get out there for the first drive, first couple plays, just to get his blood flowing. He likes to do that. With Jordan Love, I think if it's a 10-play drive, you take him out. If he goes on a 6-play drive, you put him out for the second drive, and then you call it. But I don't think you play a lot of your starters.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in agreement with you. We said that last night as well. There's just no reason for this team to take any chances when this game literally means nothing.
Yeah.
And the Packers do have a lot to play for going forward. I mean, granted, we said this last night. They got nothing to lose. You're the 7th seed again for the 3rd year in a row. Just go out there and make things interesting. Try some things out. I said this to Kyle Malzahn when the season started. Go out there and play in the sandbox. Get interesting. Try out some plays. You know what I would love to see, Cam? I would love to see some wildcat, some packages for Malik Willis. They need to get him involved in games where he's not the starter.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Because I'll tell you this, man, when they had Josh Jacobs in the backfield and Malik Willis back there, and opposing defenses were forced to put a spy on Malik Willis, it really opens things up.
And it was barely a spy. He would just get around him.
Yeah, because he's just fast. He's very, very much like Lamar Jackson and Caleb Williams, that he just evades pressure. I want to say he was sacked once.
I think it was. Yeah.
I think it was just once.
Yeah, it was once or twice. Yeah,
he's a hard man to bring down.
Yeah.
So I want to see a little more of that. It's a game that means nothing, so why not try it?
You got to get Matthew Golden involved as well. I mean, we're getting to the point where your first round pick is becoming irrelevant, and it's not a great sign because think of your last couple first round picks. Lucas Van Ness, kind of irrelevant the first couple of years he was in the league. Jordan Morgan, kind of irrelevant. Now he's more relevant now because Zach Tom is out, and I think the Tom situation, he's got to get out there to get his legs under him, but you need him back by the playoffs. But Jordan Morgan, everyone's like, a little bit of a bust. And Matthew Golden, this is 3 straight years where your first round pick, you're kind of scratching your head. Just get him involved, get his energy up. I remember being on the field in New York and Jordan Love overthrew Matthew Golden. This was the first time I've ever seen, and Golden is he keeps it very coy in the locker room of, I just want to do the best for the team, right? I remember seeing him after the ball was overthrown. He's walking back and he takes the straps on his helmet and he flings him off. And he was visibly upset. And that's one of the first times where I'm like,
yeah, he's frustrated.
But I'm glad he showed the frustration to clearly show everyone he is frustrated. Just do something with him.
And I think it's for the football fans that don't know the number of responsibilities that an NFL wide receiver has. Matthew Golden is a terrific pass-catching wide receiver. He's also 5'11", maybe 6 foot, and maybe he's got 10 pounds on me. Mm-hmm. He's not a good blocking wide receiver.
So what else are you going to...
And the Packers do so much in motion, and they run the ball a lot. So you just can't have him out there as much.
Not to interrupt you, Savion Williams has made a bigger catch this year than Matthew Golden.
Yes, against the Steelers. And he's been more involved just because he's a bigger guy. And it's like when John Fitzpatrick went out. John Fitzpatrick gets a lot of snaps. So does Josh Wiley when they're healthy because they're both pretty good at catching the football and they're really good at blocking. Mm-hmm. And Matthew Golden is just not there yet.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be on the field as much when you can't block. It's the exact same reason why Odell Beckham Jr. was extremely frustrated in Cleveland. And I hate to keep bringing back the Browns, but if you can't block, you're not going to be an NFL wide receiver for that long.
Especially if you're not catching 50 passes a year. And
That's
Matthew
true.
Golden doesn't have more than 35, and he still has no touchdowns. To get him in the end zone, gosh, the smile that would put on his face. That's all you need. You just need to inject some energy into Matthew Golden because it's getting to the point where if he's upset, then he becomes dejected, and now what's the point of putting him out on the field?
Yeah, I mean, it also just begs the question. It's like, did they really need him?
Yeah, that's a great
point.
There's
just so many wide receivers on this team because I would say that Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, even Dontavian Wicks, those 4 guys, maybe not Dontavian Wicks, but Jaden Reed, Watson, and Doubs for sure, could be borderline wide receiver ones on any team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Jaden Reed was terrific last year. He's been hindered by injuries this year. Romeo Doubs has maybe some of the best hands on this team, maybe the best. He was the Packers' go-to guy before Christian Watson came back. And Christian Watson's terrific.
Yeah.
And he's kind of the future of the NFL. He's huge. He's fast. He's kind of like DK Metcalf, and that he can beat a linebacker because he's faster than him. And
he won't beat fans, which is good.
True.
Yes. Okay. I also will say I think the approach of the draft changes mightily if the Packers trade for Micah Parsons before the draft. Because in that sense, you're probably drafting a corner, knowing, gosh, if we can just lock down in the secondary, our pass rush, that would be so easy. But you go with the wide receiver.
I'm sure Jerry Jones would have loved to have done that as well.
True. But you go with the wide receiver because it's like our offense is where we need to make our money. That's what our head coach does. He calls the plays. Let's add more to the arsenal of love. Our offensive line, we're paying it a lot. We are adding to this team. if they had Micah Parsons before, I think they go with the corner.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I realize we are almost out of time, so we're going to say goodbye here on WFRV Plus Sports Night. That's Cameron Azar. I'm Carson Fowler. We'll see you next time.